Hey, Bob, so just calling to say goodnight. You're probably at the store. Anyways, give me a call in the morning. Let me know how things went, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? All right, love you. Good night.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of To Be Frank. Today's guest is going to be myself. We're going to be talking about my pops a lot today. It's going to be pretty hard. Probably going to cry a bunch. I got Josh Cabeza in the booth. What up, Josh?
What's up, man?
So we're going to get to know each other a lot today. And yeah, you're probably going to watch me cry a bunch. And this is going to be rough. But I got to talk about it. Otherwise, it's going to drive me crazy. And my wife's going to fucking be upset. And, I don't want to. I can't do the shit that my dad does, which is be stubborn and not, just keep it all inside and shit. And, the men of that classic era, you know what I mean? There's fucking greatest generation, my ass, They fucking, we'll get all into that soon. But let me test the audio. I'm going to be calling a bunch of different family members, and they're going to be telling stories and stuff. I'm going to be telling a lot of stories about my pops. And then I'm going to get into everything that happened. And just kind of tell you guys what's going on and where my mind's at. And, just documenting life, I guess. You know what I mean? The thing that everyone has to go through. And
What's your favorite memory of your father?
Ever?
Yeah.
Let me think. Let me test this real quick, and then let me think. Oh, that works fucking beautifully.
Hey, babe.
Hey, what's up? We're on the podcast. Is that an echo?
Yeah, hold on, I can fix it.
Hold on, we're testing something. Check. How you doing?
I'm good. What's going on?
We're just doing the podcast about my pops, and we're testing something, and then we're gonna call. I'm gonna call different people, and yeah.
Okay. Is it just you?
No, it's me and Josh. He's my producer, and he's a comic that I've known for a while. Doesn't quite know too much about my pops. You know a little bit about my pops.
A little bit.
Everything like I've talked about and stuff, but I'm gonna process everything and kind of just talk about my favorite shit about him and everything, and go through that.
Let me close the door so you don't hear the sounds of the city.
Yeah, I gotta stop recording thing.
No, it's good. That's why we do this. Or were you on speaker? Is that why it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now you're not on speaker.
Well, I was on speaker, and also it was just like the window was open. It was just really loud.
Oh, you think that's what it was?
It could have been.
Oh, okay.
Because all the levels everything looked right.
Oh, okay. Cool. Sick. All right. Then I'll just have to make sure they're not on speaker. All right. Cool. Should I just do a re-intro or?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
All right. Cool. That's fine. It's whatever. I can just cut around it. Yeah. Before I get into, are you down to ask me some questions at the end of this?
Yeah. What kind of questions do you want me to ask? You want me to ask like fluff questions, or
no?
you want me to ask,
can ask me some tough ones about my dad, or just not tough ones about my dad, but just stuff you want me to think about.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'll just get in this. Anything you want to say about my pops before I call you back in a little bit? Is there any your favorite memories you have of them?
I mean, I think my favorite memories of him are. It's hard to say because I do have a lot of good ones of him, but so many of them also involve him drinking. So it's weird to kind of look back on them and be like, oh, that was such a fun time. Like when we all went to Vegas. Do you remember? It was me, you, and your dad. We went to Vegas.
And Chris Storm,
and
right?
Yeah, I think we saw Chris there. But I just remember like drinking Fireball and Dr. Pepper with your dad. But I also remember too, like him doing stuff that like made you upset while we were there because of his drinking. So it was, and I think that was the first time where I really was confused about the relationship you have with your dad's drinking, just simply because you were like, I'm going to party with my dad. I'm going to party with my dad. And in the same trip, we're like, I don't like that he drinks. I think that was like, it's weird. I have a lot of memories of him like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the unfortunate thing is like, now that I mean, that's always been my thing with him was his drinking. And it's so normalized in my family and just in my culture that it's like pushing back or like trying to talk to anybody. You were just trying to stop it was like, it was not looked down upon, but it was looked at as weird, like going against the grain. And it felt like I was trying to push back against a boulder that was being rolled downhill,
Right. And I think the shitty thing about that is that was just always, it's just what we do, that's just how it is. There was never nobody else really questioned like why is it like this? Like why does that have to continue? And I think it kind of goes into how easy it is for people to just kind of like turn a blind eye to things that don't concern them personally. Like if I think particularly like with your sister's family, yeah, he's close, but not close enough. So there was never any like real investment in getting him to stop, because the stakes were low for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that terrible?
No, it's not terrible, but it is going to be on the podcast and we're going to clip it. No, I'm just going to. Hannah's taking shots. No, you definitely put your therapist hat on. We'll get more into it and stuff, but yeah, I definitely have feelings about certain stuff. And I think what are the things that I think you're worried about with everything with my pop's passing?
What am I worried about now that he's gone?
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I'm just worried that things are just going to completely go back to normal. That just things are going to, because I feel like that happened like after Chris died, that happened after Cindy died, like it just goes right back to the way it was. And, like how many people have to like die because of this one specific thing for people to like get a fucking clue and like do something different, or at the very least just ask themselves like, why is this okay for me? Like, and why is this okay for the people I love? Right. And just not willing to look at like any kind of like, I think it's the long-term consequences, right? And I think that was something I always talked to you about, is your dad was trying to put Band-Aids on like these very big problems that had very like long-term consequences, right? Like in the moment, drinking would help him feel better, like, make him forget or make him happy or, to a point, and then he would drink to a point where he would get really sad and mopey. But, like at least for like a period of time, even if that time was like 5 minutes, it made him feel better. But then the long-term consequences, right? Like the real consequences of that is, not speaking to your son for a year and a half. Your death being a complete shock to your daughter. Like those are the long-term consequences that I think people in addiction don't really see. And I know I've mentioned to you before, I might have even said this when I talked to Jay Light, but like addiction doesn't just affect the addict, it affects everybody who knows the addict, the ripple effects of it. And those effects being just as damaging and traumatic. for the people who love an addict as it is for the addict. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, what a great way to start the podcast.
Yeah.
We're 9 minutes
I'm literally just out here
in.
trying to make grown men cry. You know how it is. That's my vibes. What I do.
All right, I'll call you back if you have more questions or more. If you think of more questions, and then
Yeah.
and then we'll get into it. I love how we started the podcast. Josh was like, "What was your favorite memory of your dad?" And then you were just like, systematically, if you think from the beginning, it was always doomed from the start. And I'm like, "All right, thanks, babe. Well, can we just find a way to start in the fucking middle?"
I mean, that was me starting in the middle. Like, I have good memories of him. So, like, I can look back on those memories and still be like, they're good memories.
Sorry.
And also, that was when I fully really understood how bad your dad's alcoholism were.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like,
okay.
it's yeah. All right, I'll
but
get into it.
But like most people in our generation, we have to be the ones, or we end up being the ones that break that curse.
Yeah,
That seems
Yes.
like most of my friends in my generation, their fathers were like that. And whatever it was, now we're the generation be like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Totally. And
Yeah.
I do think it has to do with just like the internet and just our like resources, like I say to my clients a lot, like before like 10, 15 years ago, had you ever heard the like phrase emotional intelligence in like a conversation with people? Like probably not. Like that is it's something that's always been a thing, but has never really kind of been like conceptualized and named. So our generation, particularly like millennials on, we are at a really great advantage that our parents and grandparents and, great grandparents didn't have, which is like, again, the ability to like literally go on TikTok and see a video of somebody being like, I have anxiety and this is what it looks like. And people being like, oh shit, like that's a thing. Like that's me, and then be able to like look into it more and get better understanding and then like use their insurance to go see a therapist and a doctor. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, the cycle breakers are also given the most shit by the family for doing all those things. Like even with my own family, like if I talk about like, Yep. It is absolutely a burden. It's such a burden. Oh my God, it's such a burden. It always cracks me up whenever kids are like, I don't want to be a burden to my parents. I'm like, what about them being a burden to you, homie?
I mean, that was the thing I always said to you. It was like whenever I would argue with my dad about getting help and just getting better. And he'd always just like, well, I just don't want to be a burden to you. And I was like, well, you're going to be a burden when you're gone. Like you dying early and being gone is going to be the thing that burdens me the most. It'll be an emotional burden that I fucking will never get over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. No, them not getting help is more of a burden than them getting Thor, stop. Dude, our cat has been rubbing his asshole on the carpet like
he
a
might
bunch.
have worms.
I'm convinced. Great. No, I don't think so. I'm just convinced he's too lazy to like lick his own ass. That's what I think.
He could be too fat. All right, cool. Sick, babe. I'll call you back in a little bit. Thank you so much for giving your master's opinion on...
That's hilarious. Yeah, call me back in like 10 minutes. I'll have questions for you in like 10 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
I'm so glad that's how we started because I was immediately going to start fucking bawling my eyes out as you were starting to ask me questions. All right. So yeah, I mean, if you can't tell by now, my father passed away. It fucking sucked. It sucked a lot, and it was sudden. And I kind of always had I always had a feeling it was always going to happen, just because. I don't want to be like, it was a long time coming, but, it's just, I don't think anyone's surprised that the guy that drank every day, fucking hard every weekend since he was in his 20s, passed away. You know what I mean? He had pancreatic cancer that spread to his liver, and his liver was pretty much shutting down, and it was all full of scar tissue and cancer because of the years and years of drinking. So I guess I'll just go through everything that kind of just happened. So, me and my dad weren't talking for about 2 years, about a year and a half to 2 years. My dad's always been a drinker, and he's always been the cool guy. He's always been the party animal. He's always just been, he's everything that I've emulated on stage. He's the heightened version of just who I am. You know what I mean? When I'm on stage, just because he's always been the guy that I looked up to. He's always just so funny, very, very quick-witted. But in addiction and drinking, that's the mascot. That's the entertainer. You know what I mean? He was always the guy that made you feel amazing, made you feel important. Was always the life of the party. But that was always hiding something. And he was dealing with a lot, and he's always been dealing with a lot. And I think he was always sad, and he just didn't know how to get help. But there was a lot of cries for help, and I think a lot of people saw it, and I think not a lot of people want to do anything because it's tough. It's tough to try to tell someone you love that they need to get help. So one of the reasons that we stopped talking was because I had that conversation with him. It was right after the Super Bowl commercial. He disappeared for like 4 days. He occasionally would just disappear. That was like a thing that would just always happen. And he'd disappear, and then he'd come back around, and then it would just kind of happen so much that this last time he disappeared for like 4 days, and someone reached out to me and was like, he hasn't shown up to work, and he hasn't been around, and I called everybody. I called my grandpa, I called my step parents, and friends and everyone that I knew, and they were just like, he kind of just does this, he disappears, and he comes back, and I was just like, why is everyone just okay with this, And then I called his landlord, I called like everybody, and I just got the same answer pretty much, that it was just like, he does this. And it was probably one of the worst 4 days of my life. My sister called me and was like, is dad alive? And I had to like, I didn't know if it wasn't that I had to lie to my sister. I didn't want to lie to her, and I didn't know what to say. And it was just like, that was kind of my breaking point, where it's like, I can't keep doing this, and I got to like talk to him. And, he finally showed up after like the 5th day. He texted me and was like, hey, mijo, I'm sorry, blah, blah. And then I texted him. I was like, I'm fucking livid, and like, this is not okay. We got to talk about it. And he was like, I can't talk about it. And I was just like, well, we have to. Like, we need to talk about it. And he just didn't text me back. I told him to call me. We don't talk for a couple months. He texts me back and asks me how everything is going. He's like, I love the clip you put out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, man, we got to talk about this. Like, things just can't go back to normal. I want you to be okay. I have money now. I basically told him this. I was like, I have money, which really, you don't need a lot of it to move someone out of the ghetto. You only need, I think, like $8,000 is what I calculated. But I was like, I'll pay for everything. We'll move you out of your place. Just live with me. I have a 2-bedroom now. I'll go to fucking meetings with you every day. I'll get a job if I have to help fucking make sure you're good. And, I'll drive you to work. You can transfer whatever you need, Pops. Like, there's resources. Like, I'll do whatever I have to do. I just want you to get better. And he was like, no, I can't. And that like crushed me. You know what I mean? Like, my wife's got a master's in psychology. She works in rehab. She's, she does this shit for a living. And, I know I would have spent every dollar I had to just make sure he was good. But in the end, that wasn't the thing that he needed. And for the longest time, I thought that like if I was like successful enough, or that was the thing that needed to happen. Like if I just had the money or just like I could save him. He just didn't want to get saved. So that's why we stopped talking. And I knew this was going to happen. And it fucking killed me every fucking day. Because he's all I would think about. So, I get the call. His girl calls me and she's like, he's sick. We're in the hospital. And, I drop everything. I go and, he's laid up in the hospital. He's fucking yellow. He's got jaundice because his liver's failing. And, it sucks that this is how it happened. And, you try to prepare yourself, but nothing can prepare you for your parents dying or, your parents being stubborn. And, I got there, I gave him a big hug. I told him that I was sorry for not talking to him and that I was dumb and everything. And he immediately squashed it. He was just like, don't apologize for anything. You weren't wrong. He was like, don't ever bring it up. We're okay. It was just like, So I'm there with them. They're trying to get his liver better. So it was like 5 days in the hospital. I was there, open to close. I didn't sleep much. I didn't eat. I cried a lot. I cried so hard in the parking lot. An Asian family came up to me and hugged me. They didn't speak English. They just gave me a hug. Said they were sorry for what happened. And it was fucking rough. But, I didn't cry in front of them. I just tried to make them laugh as much as I could. Talked stories, Watched all of season 1 of Landman. Watched all the tires, Watched Dave Cross's David Tell's hot cross buns. Like, we just talked comedy and caught up. There's so much shit that, I shouldn't blame myself and I shouldn't fucking, I made the decisions I made, but like, the last 2 years, he could have been in some really cool shit. And I wanted him there so fucking bad, man. And I just felt like I had to stay firm and hold my fucking boundary. And hopefully he'd change, and he didn't. And, it fucking sucked, man. I was there when they told us that it was cancer, and they showed us the fucking CT scans, and there was fucking 3 huge tumors on his pancreas and like 6 spots on his liver, and it was just, it was just watching your parents get the bad news is like the fucking roughest shit you're ever gonna see, man. He accepted it as best he could. First thing he said was like, I had to take care of my sister, and he kind of told me what he wanted and everything. And 3 things he wanted to do before he died was he wanted to go to the Comedy Store one last time. He wanted to go to the Mothership. Then he wanted to go see a Dodger game. And we weren't able to get to do that. But so I'm there for that weekend. I come back to Austin for 3 days because I'm trying to like finish this week out so I can at least have some money, and just because I don't know how long everything's going to be. They send him home, and then, his girl calls me and she's like, you got to come back. And it was like after 3 days. So I just dropped everything. I had to cancel a bunch of spots and everything. And I went straight back to San Jose, and it was like being right back in hell. But, I promised him I'd be there, and I was, and, we just took care of him. And, that Friday they told us what how much time he had left, and they were like, you got weeks to a month, and that Friday he passed away 10 days later. So we had like 3 good days with him, and then after that it was just fucking rough. And we got to see an episode of NCIS together, which was my sister's favorite show, so we got to watch that. He was too tired by the end of it to see the Dodger game when we were able to put it on, but he could hear it. And then, before he was like bedridden, we got to have breakfast together, which was good. We just talked shit, and then we got to go walk around the flea market, the San Jose flea market, which was cool. And then, as a place he used to work when he was a kid, the summers. So it was a cool little week. Near the end, it got rough. There was a night that he just started shaking, and that was like, that's when we knew it was bad. And then one day he woke up and was like, I got to go to work, and tried to get his keys and tried to drive off, and that was rough. And that's when we all knew. And then it was good having my family there and all my aunts and stuff, and it sucked. People wanted to come visit because, I didn't have a lot of time with them. But, people get weird when people die. And also, I didn't really want a lot of people to see him like that. Like, it was fucking not, it was not good. It was very bad. 2 funny things that happened. It's a weird thing to say, but 2 funny things that it's hard to talk about, but it's like truly the funniest shit that I've been a part of was, I'm holding him. I'm trying to get him to go to the restroom, and I'm like walking him to the restroom, and he's my grandmother, his mother-in-law, my step-grandma, who's kind of annoying but means well. She walks in, and she's trying to like talk to my dad, and my dad, in a moment of clarity, goes, "Get her to stop talking to me," and like. I just started dying laughing because it was just like he was at the pearly gates, and then he turned around and came back to tell her to shut the fuck up just one more time before he passed away. It was very funny. And yeah, man, I was in a rough spot because like I was the one doing all the medical stuff and giving him medication and staying up with him and making sure he was okay. And I was doing fucking 16-hour days, dude. I wasn't sleeping well. I just couldn't sleep. Even the nurse, when she came in, she was like, "You got to go to bed. You're going to crash. You're going to fucking, but I was like, I can't. I just got to be up with them. But yeah, I was there for the last breath. I was there for all that shit. And it was fucking rough. My sister did something funny though at the last, like, she's disabled. She is like developmentally disabled. She couldn't speak for like the first couple of years of her life. And then like she was able to speak, and then like, so it's like she's like 5 years always behind, right? But she just means well. She doesn't understand like context of certain things, you know what I mean? She's just a heart of gold, great kid. And hospice comes to pick him up, and they pick him up, and she's very like, have a good day, thank you so much for taking care of my dad, like, very sweet about it. And later we're all together, me and the family, and we're talking to just talking as a family, telling stories about him. And then my sister, I see her, she's posting an Instagram post, and the picture she puts up is the hospice team loading him up into the van. And the song is the sad TikTok song they play when someone dies. And it says, "Rest in peace, Dad." And it's got the skull emojis.
Shit.
And it made me laugh so fucking hard after I'd been crying all goddamn day. And I told my stepmom, and she was like, "Oh my God, we got to fix that." And she was like, she had to like explain to her why we got to pick more appropriate picture for Pops. But it was truly like such a funny fucking thing. But yeah, no, she's doing good. She's taking as best she can. But like, yeah, that's the rough one, man. Like my dad talked to her every day, and I talk to her every day now. And it's just not the same. And yeah, it's just, I worry about her. And yeah, it's a lot of stuff, man. I got to piss like a racehorse. And we'll come back and I'll answer some questions and shit. And I got some stuff I want to talk about, but that's kind of just like everything that happened. So yeah, I can, I don't know. I just got a couple things that I got some like stories about him that I have, but like, if there's any questions you got, I'm happy to answer.
What's the dumbest thing somebody's told you since your father's passing?
My favorite one. Someone came up to me and was like, "Hey man," he goes, "Hey man, I'm sorry about your friend." I'm like, "What? You mean my dad?" And he goes, "Oh shit, was that your dad?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Fuck man, sorry, I just kind of breezed over the post. I didn't really read the whole thing. It was pretty sad." And I was like, "Oh shit," and I kind of like skipped it. I could not stop fucking. I was dying laughing. That actually made me laugh really hard. But I mean, I guess like the dumbest thing is like, I don't want to say the dumbest thing, but people mean well. And if you haven't lost anybody, it's like, dude, I wouldn't wish that on you at all. And whenever I meet people who haven't lost anybody, I'm like, dude, good on you. Like fucking hug those motherfuckers. But I think that, I wouldn't say the dumbest thing. It's not dumb. And it's just, I guess they mean well, but this is like, it gets easier over time. And I don't think it gets easier at all. And I don't think it should. I think it should suck as much as it does the first time, because it's like, I don't want it to get easy. I don't want to forget my dad. I don't want to get over that my dad's not there anymore, because it's fucking so gay how much I love my pops, dude. It fucking sucks. He was such a big influence on my comedy. Like, I vividly remember him having the Howard Stern box set and like watching that and like listening to it when he wasn't around, and like, listening to like, he just loved comedy. Like he loved Dumb and Dumber. That was our movie. He loved stand up. He just was a big Comedy Central guy. He loved comedy. So like, it was just always around, and he was just a funny guy. So like, it just like, when I told everyone I was going to do stand up, like everyone, it just made sense. Like everyone was like, yeah, of course. Like fucking Frank's, like your dad should be doing stand up. And he always should. I truly think if my uncle and my dad were good enough to do stand up, like, or just to be like good enough to be in front of people, they could do stand up. Like they both tell ridiculous stories, and they're all like, just phenomenal. But like my dad was a big, he was a movie guy. He was like a culture buff. Like, I wouldn't say he was like college smart, but he was like street smart. You know what I mean? Like he could talk movies with you. He could talk like sports. He was like a guy's guy. Like people loved having him around. He was like, I remember he was dating this dumb cunt, and she was fucking dumb, dude. She was so dumb, like so stupid that you could like look her in the face and say a big word and see her like her brain try to like figure out the big word, and it would like hurt her. You know what I mean? And I remember one time she was like, "Man, you guys are just so smart." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You guys are just so like worldly. You guys just know a lot about pop culture." And I'm like, "I don't think that's smart. I just think you're dumb. Like you're just an idiot." But yeah, no, like he, dude, he was the reason I watched a lot. All the cool shit that I know is because of him. I watched Shawshank Redemption. I know like, he introduced me to Stephen King. He introduced me to like, he introduced me to like good comedy. The Coen brothers, like he was one of those guys that was always just like, "Have you heard of this movie?" Like he showed me Sideways, like all the classic comedy movies that like everyone always talks about, where he was the one who showed me. He was like, "You got to watch Blazing Saddles." Like he just fed comedy to me so much as a fucking kid, But I tell the story, but he's the reason I do stand up, because like there was a moment in my life where I had a choice where it was like, get this really good paying job at this casino, and you're going to have it for a long time, and you're going to make good money. Like this is going to be your life for the next decade, maybe 20, whatever. And they were going to offer me the job. I got offered the job. And I remember talking to my dad and being like, I could take this job, but I want to do stand up. And I was like, I want to move to LA with my friend, and I just want to give it a shot. And I remember he was the only one that said it. And my mom was like, don't do it. take the job or just be a hairdresser. Like, she was like, don't fucking,
Why
because
hairdresser?
people always need their haircuts. I swear to God, that's what she said. And she did not want me to move to LA. She didn't want me to do any of that shit. And my dad was like, you're in your 20s. You can fuck up plenty and always just come home. He was like, if your mom's not going to take you back, you can always just come live with me. He was like, no one's going to turn you away for trying. He was like, just go. He was like, you just go do it. You have nothing to lose. And then he was like, yeah, I did it. I remember we having that conversation and I did it. And yeah. Dude, that guy, like, so supportive. Like, when I say every open mic, that dude who came to open mics, like, he got to see me. I remember we were staying in Van Nuys, and I didn't have a car. And we took the metro from San Fernando Valley all across LA, and we went to like 5 open mics. And he watched me, you know, go to this coffee shop, sign up. He watched me go to this bar, sign up. You know, he didn't mind going because, like, it's a bar, so they have drinks. So he's like, yeah, I'll fucking drink and just watch my son try to do stand-up, right? And, yeah, he watched me do all that shit. And, you know, he watched me sign up for potluck at the store and not get up, you know? And I remember going to Melody Lounge that night, and I remember bombing. And it's so funny bombing at an open mic with your dad there. And I remember he was at the bar. I was like trying to do like crowd work to get out of it. And I was like, you know, I said something to where like to get people to clap. And I remember it's like fucking dead quiet. And my dad's just, his back's turned to me and he's just clapping. And everyone's like fucking laughing. But, you know, I'm lucky that he got to see all of it. He got to see me try at open mics. And then, you know, years later he brought up, you know, he was like, the thing that I always thought was cool was I remember you not getting up at potluck. And I remember you going and being like, yeah, I'm gonna just go try to get up somewhere else. And he was like, you know, I thought that was cool. He was like, people would, he didn't like sit and like get bummed out. He didn't get up. He was like, you were like, I'm going to go do another thing. And he was like, I always thought that was cool. You know, years later, roast battle happens. And, you know, the night before the finals, he got to see me, or not the night before the finals. I think it was like a couple days before the finals, but, he got to see me just do the same thing, but on shows. He got to see me do like 5 spots. And he, watched me do spots at like the open mic and potluck. He got to watch me do a secret show in like the Hollywood Hills. And I just ran all these jokes. So he got to watch me run all the jokes that I'd win roast battle with. And yeah, he was so stoked, dude. He got to meet so many fucking people. And like, I remember shout out Birdman from San Jose. He's truly one of the best. I owe that man. And my dad always has a history of dating real fucking shitty women. And one of the chicks he was dating was named Terry, and we called her Scary Terry. We also called her Caitlyn Jenner because she kind of looked like Caitlyn Jenner. And it was, you know, we weren't nice to these women. Anyways, so me and her don't like each other because I'm like, I don't know, I'm in my 30s. Any woman that my dad meets now and is like, you know, a certain way or like tries to mom me, I'm like, I don't know you, lady. I'm also successful, so suck a dick. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't have to eat my fucking vegetables, eat my asshole. But I try to be nice. I try to be respectful, but then like if I feel like a boundary's crossed, I'm like, yeah, I don't have to respect you. You're just a fucking nobody. You ain't shit. Follow me on 15 minutes. No, but this lady I didn't like, and she knew that. So my dad was like trying to go visit. She was gonna like pay for everything, flight and stuff, and then she made all these plans and stuff. My dad was like, no, I'm gonna go hang out with my son. And then she was like, well, it's me or your son. And he was like, well, I'm gonna go hang out with my son. And then she was like, well, I'm not gonna pay for the flight. I'm not gonna blah blah. And canceled everything the day before. So my dad's sad. He's depressed. He's drinking a lot because that's what he does when he gets sad. And Birdman's like, I'll drive you. And he drove down, and because of them, they got to see everything. And my dad got to see a bunch of cool shit. And yeah, I'll always love and cherish Birdman for that. Yeah, he had a lot of opinions on comedy, and I think that's why I loved him so much, because he was smart with it. He thought of like, he had people he loved, people he didn't like, and he'd be like, what do you think of this? And I'd be like, oh shit, you're like asking some fucking good questions. But his favorites, Dave Attell, Jeff Ross. He loved Dave Attell the most. I got to introduce him. That was the big thing was, my dad's not a like take a pictures guy. So like when he met Dave Attell, he was the only guy who was ever like, please can I meet him? And then like they got a picture together, and that was like, he bragged about it, told everybody. He'd go back to Safeway and be like, my son knows Joe Rogan. He's like, Joe Rogan mentioned him on the podcast. Like that, my dad was truly a proud father. Like I did a lot. I'm so lucky that he got to see so much shit.
He must have lost his shit when you got on Rogan.
Dude, that was a big one. That was huge. My name on the wall, his name on the wall. We have the same name. My real name is Frank Anthony Castillo, and I go by Frank Castillo because that's his name. And then like, dude, I would send him pictures of like my name on the marquees, and he'd like fucking so cool. Cause you get to put your dad's name up in lights. That's fucking sick. Yeah, he was very proud. And, the thing that breaks my heart now is like, he was the first person I call during, when I'd win something, when I'd lose something, like anything, he'd be the person I call. And it's like, anything that happens is like bittersweet because he's the first person I think about. And, yeah, it's tough, man. I didn't know if I was going to do Moon Tower. I didn't know if I could take it or if I was going to, because it's like weird to like do stand up and then also like want to talk about a real thing, but also not want to like fuck the whole show up. And like, it's a big deal. And I hadn't done stand up in 3 weeks, and I didn't know if I was going to do it. I didn't know if I was going to come back. I didn't know if I was like going to do any of this shit again, because it was just like fucking hurts, and you want to quit. You want to not do anything. You just want to you want the world to stop, but it can't, and you get upset because you're like, why isn't the world stopping to honor this man? And it's like, because it can't, it happens all the time. But, fuck, I forgot what I was going to say.
What type of comedians did your dad hate? Like, I can't stand this type of comedy.
He was actually pretty forgiving. He liked a lot of comics. There wasn't anything that he like hated. There's some stuff he'd see, he'd be like, that person's kind of, he's like, that's kind of easy. Like, he'd see a lot of that shit. Like, but he'd still laugh at a lot of like certain things he just thought was just very funny. There's something he said about comedy I always thought about was, I think the thing he was most proudest of was, he was like, what do you want? Do you want fame or do you want respect?
Ooh.
And I think respect was like a thing he really cherished. So like when I'd take him to the store and everyone would be like, your son's great, and all these big comics and all these other people that would just pull him aside and tell him, all nice things about me. You raised a good kid, blah, blah, like that. Like he was like, he'd say, he was like, I could die happy. Like that's like.
Yeah, his son went to the NBA.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Trying to think of anything else I wanted to cover. Yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
I had another one. I'm trying to remember it. Oh, the first one.
Oh, favorite memory?
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, I think it was one of the trips when he came down to LA, and it was like after I had money, because it was like, that was the thing, is like, I think it was the trip before everything happened, because it was like, I remember being like, hey man, like this is kind of like how you could live. Like you can, like, dude, like we got a fucking, apartment that doesn't have cockroaches finally. Like, we fucking don't live in a shitty Hollywood apartment where you can hear a homeless guy fucking screaming. You know, when he would stay in the Hollywood spot, he'd have to have like an air mattress, and he still loved it, dude. He was like, yeah, we can just, I remember his favorite thing was he could walk to Safeway, get a fucking case of 805s and walk right back up and like just chill. He was like, all the hot chicks walk up to Runyon Canyon, so I can just sit here and stare at them. And I was like, that's creepy, dude. You can't do that. But yeah, he came back to visit, and it was like, dude, like spare bedroom right on the inside of the apartment complex, right by the fountain. So all cool. You get great spot to nap. You know, all the fucking apps, every fucking streaming service he ever wanted. Literally, I was like, dude, let's just rent a movie. You know what I mean? Not like, you know, how we used to have to count fucking pennies to see if we can even rent a movie, right? Dude, let's fucking watch whatever you want, dude. And he was like, oh, yeah, it's not on streaming. I was like, cool, just rent it. Like, let's fucking, like, what do you want? Let's go eat somewhere nice for breakfast. And he was just like, all right, sick. Well, what about that? I got it. I'm like, nah, I got it. You know? And he's like, what do you want to eat for lunch? Let's cook something. I'm like, no, man, where do you want to eat? Let's go, you know? He used to love coming to visit and showing me like food places on TikTok that he found, and then be like, let's go here. And then like, I remember we literally went to like a flea market, and they just had like, it was this food truck that was only there for like a weird time, but it was like the best tacos we've ever had. Super ghetto though. They were charging to use the restrooms. It was like $1 for fucking, you know, to use the fucking porta potty. It was ridiculous. But he loved it, dude. And then like, you know, he loved like, my favorite thing is like, I remember one time he came, he was like, hey, show me where that fucking Marilyn Manson killed all those people. I'm like, you know, even we'd drive and he'd be like, where'd OJ fucking stab that bitch? You know what I mean? So we'd show him everything, and like, he loved that, dude. And that was like fun. Yeah. And then I remember like, he'd go to the Comedy Store, and he'd meet everybody and hang out with all the door guys and just shoot the shit. And, you know, we'd go eat late night food at College Boys, and, you know, we just do comedy shit, a comedian's life. He loved it. I told him, I was like, dude, this could be it. You could fucking, like, you don't have to, like, dude, just retire. You can just sleep on my couch for the rest of your life if you want, dude. I'll buy you a fucking, like, dude, like, we don't, like, but he was always just like, I don't want to burden you and stuff. And it's like, he wouldn't have been, man. I'd have let him. It was like, you know, I'd have flew my sister there every day just to be able to, all of us to be around again, you know? He just couldn't do it. It's tough. Yeah, but I think that was my favorite memory. I'm going to call my aunt.
Hello.
Hey, Liz.
How are you?
Good. Just so you know, you're on the pod, and I can cut around everything, but
Okay.
I just wanted to call and see how you're doing, and I know, you know, just telling some stories about Pops.
Okay. We're heading there.
I was
Talking about it earlier.
yeah, I was thinking about the margarita incident?
Oh, it said y'all came back from San Jose at his ranch, and your dad in the car with us with the two boys and Manny's uncle. And we stopped at Harris Ranch. They had waffle from there, and ordered a margarita. And he had some little shoes on and tripped on the waffle, and your dad started clapping me because I didn't drop one out, but I fell to the ground. And instead of helping me, they all started laughing. Like, what the heck? You don't want to help me up?
I do remember it was like going to visit in LA and hang out with you guys, and like was like the highlight of the trip, because it was like Pops and Haya together. His brother were just like ridiculous. They would just always they'd always tell stories, and it would always usually be the same story, but it was just the way he told it was always so different, and it was always just so entertaining.
they have fun together. They have some crazy Mookie stories that have their little shade, their midnight toast together. And when your dad would come down, him and I would stop by the Commerce Casino over here and hold hands of cards because Uncle Haya was still working. And then he would all of a sudden we look at the and we say, "Oh my gosh, he's off work. We got to get back home because we stood longer." He'd go, "Hey, I thought you came to visit me." He ended up hanging out for a while. We always had time, but these two knuckleheads together had a blast.
Yeah. I remember he almost got kicked out of your guys' favorite bar because he called the bartender Cupcake.
Oh, yeah.
My dad,
out of all the people, go ahead, hon. You tell what you.
So my dad was really, really good at pool. He was like he was a really good pool player. So he went to my aunt's bar that they go to, and he was beating a bunch of people, and the bartender was like, he was like, anyone can do that. Like, kind of just like disregarding my pops. And my dad was like, all right, well, then fucking, put up, let's play. And he was like, nah. And he was like, all right, well, then shut the fuck up, Cupcake. And it was funny because the guy was holding a box of cupcakes. So the guy just got so mad. He was like, what the fuck? And it's like, there's some, I don't know, man. It was just like so quick to see how like my dad had like something ready. And he just visually was like, oh yeah. That's the thing I always liked about my dad was like, he was really quick. He was smart enough comedically to be able to put things together.
He was very funny. And then I tell him, why did you call him Cupcake? That's the wrong guy to call him Cupcake. He goes, Liz, he got cupcakes in his hand. I said, oh, sorry.
What am I going to do? Come on. Is Uncle there?
He's right here.
Oh,
Say hi.
Let me talk to him real quick. Hey, Uncle.
What's up?
Hey, so what was you want to tell what was the thing my dad would complain about to you all the time, or the story he would always? This is the thing, he would always bring up one story specifically when we'd all get drunk together, and it was truly one of my favorite stories.
The when I came off at the airport.
Yeah.
So he was your one decides to send him to visit with me, and I think your dad was about 11. She flew him to Burbank Airport, and I didn't have a car yet. I only had a motorcycle, so I had to. Actually, I got my mom's brother when he was alive. He had a car to go pick up my brother at Burbank, so I bring him back. And he stood with me. I had just got so I couldn't take vacation. So your brother stood in my garage at my grandma's house. I had a stereo system. I had headphones. I had albums, all kinds of stuff. So I took him to the store, and I got all kinds of food, whatever snack I wanted. And then when I went to work, made lunch. So I told this guy at work, hey, man, what do you do with the 11-year-old? Dropped him on me. He's going to be here for a week. And this guy's, hey, there's a movie coming out, man. It's pretty cool. It's called The Warriors. So I go, oh, all right. So I looked in the newspaper, found out where the Warriors were, and went to go see the Warriors. And he goes, bro, he goes, you told me you're taking me to the Warriors, go see the Warriors. I thought you taking me to go see Cowboys and Ninjas. What the hell, man? That sucked. And after the movie was over, bro, that was a bad movie. It was about gangs.
Yeah.
Right? We cracked up. But as time was, I had to put him back on the plane, and I tried to call my uncle, and he wasn't answering. Never got back to me. And how am I going to get this guy to the airport, No, we're back then. And I said, shoot, man. I have a car, and my buddy, I said, hey, I saw him outside. Well, dude, hey, Rick, help me out. I said, what? He goes, I'll give you money for gas. I go, I got to get my brother to Burbank Airport. And he goes, yeah, well, only one problem. What? He goes, I can't shut the car off. And go, what do you mean? He goes, I get the car started, and we can go. It'll get us there. But I can't shut it off because it might not start. I said, you got to be kidding me. I go, wow, let's go. So we get to Burbank Airport. He drops off. He's waiting right there. And I brought your dad in, and I went to his gate. His luggage right there, had his ticket, and all right, I'll see you later, bro. Got when I left him there. Oh my God. Didn't know that he had to have an adult to board him. Somebody had a bear. So I get a call from my mom. What the hell are you doing? She got a call from the airport stating that her son was there. There was no adult. And I said, oh man. Oh, sorry. I hung up.
And
Hello?
he would bring it up every time.
Oh yeah, bro, I'm traumatized. Oh, I go, yeah. You were traumatized every time you came out. He flew. He was flying the Burbank. He'd be at the bar. So traumatized, bro. Yeah. So we go pick him up. Hey, bro, I'm coming in. Yeah. All right. Where you at? Burbank. All right. And get there, and where you at? And I'm at the come on in. All right. Park it, but yeah. So I got a call from Grandma. She's totally pissed, and that I left him there. Mom, I go, I didn't know. I had no idea, and I didn't have. I was trying to get back so my police car didn't stall. Oh my God. Even Priscilla told me. I was talking to his friend Priscilla from work.
Uh-huh.
I just saw her when we were at the mall. She came down. She goes, hi, what's up, bro? She goes, I know you. She goes, you're the one that at the airport now. I go, oh my God. He's still telling that story. She goes, all the time, man. All the time. Yeah. I go, way. They knew it. My brother got left at Burbank Airport. That guy.
I miss him.
And he came down with me and he says, hey, bro, I got a drink. Because, we would just drink what beer or whatever. Sometimes I guess we'd make like berry daiquiris or whatever. No hard liquor back then. Just beer. He goes, I found a new drink. Oh, really? He goes, yeah. It's called Dr. Pepper. Wow. All right. What do you do? Oh, you got to go to the market and go buy this, that, whatever it was, right? So we had to go and then also Liz had slipped and fell and dropped the bottle, pick up on aisle 15. Oh, your brother was like, pick up the 12. My brother was just over it. And then I said, hey, bro, I go, buying all this alcohol. And so, this was probably back in the 80s, right? Early 80s. And I'm like, I see. It cost me it was $70 out of the market to get all that stuff for this drink. I go, we come to the bar and order it cheaper. Oh my God. That was the pickup on aisle 2.
Yeah, but he wouldn't see me fall again.
Again. Oh my God. They had the market. They had somebody come over and my young brother turns the corner and he goes, everything's like that. I heard something break.
Those are peppers.
Those were the doctor. So we went back to the house and we were drinking. And I looked at him like, really? All for that? Oh my gosh. But the one he always, I guess, it was the Burbank Airport. Because he's, let's see, like 6 years younger than me. So I think I was like 19, and then he was 12, 11. when I dropped him off at the airport. But that was how me and him became really close. Because, he was born here in San Gabriel, but then they packed up and moved when he was little. So I didn't really spend a lot of time with him when he was little. And then my mom, I don't know, he was Easter break, I think. He had a week off. And she goes, hey, I'm going to send your brother down to go stay with you. All right. And that's how we became close, though he went back and then see him. But I would call my mom and talk to my sister Sue, and then I would talk to my brother. And then when you coming up, bro, I'm like, oh, man, coming up, hopefully, and I'd go up there and get to go hang out and then take him to go to where mom lived, grandma back there on Terryland.
Mm-hmm.
The elementary school right there.
Yeah, Sloniker.
We'd get the balls and the bats and the gloves, and we go to the park right there, the playground, and we go play ball. Me and him. Mike tried, but
Mike was his brother. Yeah. Hey, what did you call his friend? What's it called? Biggie Smalls.
Who?
My other uncle.
Your dad's friend?
Yeah, my other uncle.
Other uncle?
What's it? What? He has polio. He had one leg bigger than the other, so you guys would play basketball and you'd call him Biggie Smalls.
Oh, tell you fuck the gym. You're talking about Horacio?
Yeah.
Celia's ex.
Yeah.
Your auntie is that? Yeah. Monica and Celeste's dad.
Yeah.
He's getting deported, right? You didn't know that?
He's not getting deported.
He is.
Is he? All right. We'll talk about it later. I have to go, Uncle. I love you.
Yeah. But going backwards.
Right.
Going backwards one good day.
I'll see you later, Uncle. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Oh, my God. That's my Uncle Haya. A little choppy, but still pretty funny. He's a ridiculous guy. Ugh. All right. Any other questions you got? I'm gonna call my wife.
There's something playing in the background.
Is it? Let me.
No.
Hello?
Hey. All right. We went through a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess we're gonna wrap up on these then. What are the questions?
Okay.
Are they gonna make me cry
Hold on.
again?
I'm not making any promises one way or the other,
Jesus fucking Christ.
but just know I love you.
Oh my God.
Okay. Let me.
Josh had
Okay.
fun ones. Josh was like, what was the best memory you had of your father? And I was like, thank God this is a softball. This is easy. You know what I mean? Nothing like, what's
Yeah.
the worst habit? And I was like, well, I remember I'd be at school till about 7 p.m. waiting to get picked up.
No, that's not the questions I have.
Oh, fuck.
Sorry. Okay. So after not just like this last time, but just all the times, right? What's your opinion on going non-com with a parent? No.
I mean, it doesn't feel good. And the thing I always think about is like, I wanted him around. I did. I really, really wanted him around, but he was getting worse. And it's like, I couldn't imagine him like, I didn't want him to have like the Netflix festival talking to fucking someone that's like very important to my dad's like shit face, getting free drinks. You know what I mean? Like, It's just tough, and stuff like that sometimes would happen. And oh, sorry, one sec. Someone from Corona's calling. Oh, well, it's all. Hello.
Okay. Hi, Frankie.
Hey, what up, Maseo?
Hey, yes, this is Michelle.
Hey, what's up? How you doing? It's my little brother.
Nothing much. I'm good. You're trying to call Mama?
Yeah, I'm gonna call her in like 15 minutes. I'm talking to Hannah right now, but I'll call her back. I'll tell Mom I'm gonna call her in like 15.
Okay. He's gonna call you in 15 minutes. Next 15 minutes, okay? Alrighty.
I love you, little bro.
Hey, if you too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
He's very autistic. Hello?
Hi.
All right, before we get into that, I have to tell a story about Maseo. So my little brother Maseo is very funny. I love him to death. He's autistic as fuck. For Christmas, I asked him what he wanted for his birthday, and he goes, a soldering iron. And I was like, Jesus Christ, Timothy McVeigh. The first time he met my dad came to visit, and he answered the door, and he looks up and he goes, oh, you must be Frank's son, or you must be Frank's father. And he goes, And he was like, is Victoria here? And he goes, yeah, she's inside. And he just let him in. But I was like, that's so funny to be like, you must be Frank's father. To be a child and be able to differentiate like that is just ridiculous to me. All right, go ahead.
I mean, you stopped your answer.
Oh, the non-com stuff. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because it's also like I don't know what it would have been like if he was still around, and if he didn't want to get better, and it was like tough because it's like, I still have to focus on the thing I have to focus on, but I think about, it was his choice. It does suck because like now I do have certain feelings about all these people that, I'm going to see there that are like, have got to hang out with them for a year and a half. And, they're like, I loved your father. And I'm like, well, glad you guys got to fucking hang out with him. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to not be bitter or mad at them, and they're people coming up like, I didn't see this coming. I was like, really? You didn't see this coming when you were spending hundreds of dollars a week buying them alcohol? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's hard to like remember that this was also his decision. And, it was also my decision to not talk to him and not participate. But also just like I couldn't watch him fucking I've been on this journey so long of him on the way down that it was like, I'll see you at the last part. I can't be around for this other tough part, But yeah.
I also think too, at least this last time was the first time I really knew like how this all was impacting me. I had always kind of like, it's your decision how much contact you want to have with your parents, for both of them, but like that last time with just how it all like played out. And, I remember I was panicking, I felt unhinged and just trying not to like feel that was like it sucked. And I just remember telling you this was like super not okay. Like this was really hard for me. And you were like, okay, nope. And like I appreciate that. But yeah, I guess the reason why I asked that question is you had told me that like while you were there, while it was just you, you told your dad like you forgave him for everything. And like, I'm just curious, do you still feel like you forgive him, or does it feel more complicated now that he's actually like gone?
Well, it is complicated because it's like, he could have chose to get better a long time ago. But also I think that, he might have known he was sick or, he was the kind of guy that would like, he had a cancer scare before and he just didn't tell me. He was the kind of dad who just didn't want to tell me things because he didn't want to worry me or, his dad was like that. His dad had a major surgery and told everyone he was going on vacation and told my dad. And my dad was the only one that knew. Yeah, it was a whole fucking thing. Oh, God damn it. I got another phone call. All right, give me a sec, babe.
Yo, okay.
Yo, what up, man?
Hey, bro.
Hey, I'm in the middle of a podcast. Can I call you back? Is it cool?
Oh, yeah.
All right, sick. Give me like 20 minutes. Hello?
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Same.
Sorry. But yeah, it's definitely more complicated because it's like, he could have just tried,
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
say that he didn't, but yeah.
I mean, I think the issue has always just been pride,
Yeah.
and like this is also something that you do too, is you let your pride get in the way of like asking for help and things of that nature.
Well, that's because
So,
I'm a warrior.
oh my God. Oh my God. I'm gonna throw.
All right, go ahead. Let's get these last few questions at it, and then
Okay.
we'll get out of here.
Okay. Have you judged yourself at all for how you've grieved?
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. I didn't know if I wanted to even do this because I was just like, I was like, does this need to be out there? Does this, you know what I mean? But it's also just like I feel like I need to keep telling stories about my pops. I got to keep it going. I gotta, I mean, there's also a part of me that feels disingenuous for doing stand up and not talking about him, especially at Moon Tower was like, now it feels like a job, but it was also like, I know I needed to get something accomplished for something else, but it did, the art aspect of it is like, do I want to talk about this? Are they going to giving me like a benefit of the doubt because it's such a crazy thing that happened? Is it like, am I just milking it? Like, what is it like? Do I not talk about it? Do I talk about it? It's just a lot of different feelings, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like something that everyone's been through. And, the way he went was real rough and unexpected. And I fucking loved the dude so fucking much. And I'm going to miss him like crazy. And it kills me that he's not here.
Yeah. Well, you had also, mentioned that at least now, it's been like 3 weeks. Do you feel like you've mentioned like just feeling the anger more? Like, do you feel like okay with being angry right now, I guess?
I mean, it's like punching a pillow, I guess. It's like I do get angry and stuff, and then I just let it pass. It's like I guess I'm more angry at like family members and like people, friends and stuff, people that are kind of like, well, what could we do? And it was like, well, there's a lot of shit we could have done. But then it's also like, well, I can't fault them because at the end of the day, it was his decision.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just, I got a lot of fucking anger and I just have nowhere to put it.
Yeah, totally.
I'm just going to go back to killing strangers in Texas and throwing them in the river. No.
Hell yeah. No. So I guess that kind of leads right into my next question is like, if you could like ask your family, like genuinely like consider one thing after this experience, like, I don't know, like what would that be? Like, what do you want your family to maybe like ask themselves or take away from all of this, especially with, this not being the first time that this has happened in that family?
I guess it's just kind of like how much longer are we going to keep ignoring this monster that keeps taking different pieces of us, or people in our family? How long are we going to keep ignoring the obvious elephant in the room that keeps fucking eating one of us every couple of years?
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of it.
When did Cindy die?
I think like 8 years ago. Maybe.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't. It's all a blur to me.
Oh. Okay. Well, I know Chris was 10 years this year. So, what do you plan on doing differently now with like your family, especially when it comes to like
never talking to any of them again? No.
hilarious.
Just trying to be closer, trying to talk to him more, just trying to help out, just trying to be my dad in a sense. I guess there's, just kind of be a better glue, just really try to listen to them, try to help them, but let them be their own people. And just, you only really got one family and we're all kind of like, they're all angry, obviously. And I just wanted to get as close as, I just want to get back to when we were all together at fucking Christmas before shit got weird.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want my family back around.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's something I
Okay.
used to say all the time where I was like, when I thought about quitting, I was like, what's the point of getting successful or having any kind of money or all that when like all the people I want to do fun stuff with are gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can spend it all on me.
Yeah, like I said, all the fun stuff. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're gonna get half in the divorce, and then
you got me.
I love you. Was there anything you want to say? Anything you want to plug before I get out?
I think it's the same as it always is, which is go to therapy, and that includes you too, sir. Frank.
Okay, I will.
Everybody should hold you accountable to do that.
All right, fine.
All right, love you.
Love
okay,
you
bye.
too. Thank you, Josh. Did you cry at any point during this?
Yeah, but I didn't feel it was appropriate, and then I was just like,
got him. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for chilling, and thank you for being a part of this, and thank you, Kalia. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Groovy. Thank you, everyone from Puffco. Thank you, everyone gave money. Thank you for everyone that messaged me. Thank you, the Austin comedy scene. Thank you, the Los Angeles comedy scene. Thank you, just all the comics. Every person that reached out and said something kind to me. It really fucking meant a lot. Here's the thing. I'll tell this before I left. And the more I think about it, the more I think this person probably just overheard me, but it's still like kind of cool. Or I think it was cool. I'm very skeptical. I'm not a woo-woo person and stuff. The one thing I did hear a lot was people were like, have you seen him yet? Have you seen anything? Have you heard him? Blah, blah. And, I smoke weed, so I don't dream as much. And I want to quit smoking weed so I can dream because I'd love to see him again. And, I haven't seen him or like whatever, but I wanted to quit stand-up. I didn't know if I was going to do this again. I didn't know if I could. I just didn't know if I could find happiness in the thing that is my father is so ingrained in. And, Moon Tower was a big thing. It's very important, and I knew how important it was. But, I made sure to get back up on stage and everything, make sure I was as best as I could be for this festival. And I remember it was like the third night. It was a night I did 3 spots, and I was walking to Antone's, and this lady came up to me and was just like, you were really, really funny. Your shows were great, blah, blah. Just very complimentary. And then she was just like, don't quit. And then I don't remember. I don't think I told a lot of people. And I just thought that was kind of cool. I just thought that was I don't know if it was the universe. I don't know if it was just something I needed to hear or just whatever, or, she heard it from someone, or I don't know. But that was, that felt like, I don't want to say it felt like him, but it was like, that was something I needed to hear. And, maybe my dad came back as a white woman to tell me to keep going, but, I miss my pops every day. And, I'm going to eventually be okay. And, it just sucks. It sucks a lot. But, hug your parents, tell them you love them, hug anyone, just whoever you cherish, just fucking let them know that you love them to death. And, I tell comics, it's like, don't even worry about all this shit. Just focus on being good, focus on loving your family, and everything's a fucking gift. So thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Hi, baby.
Hey, Mom.
Hi.
I just finally, we were talking with Hannah a little bit, but I just wanted to call you and talk about my pops for like a quick second. Any stories that stick out to you? Well, first off, just tell everyone how I was conceived.
Panchito. That's embarrassing. Well, it's not. That was private between me and your dad. I don't know why he said that to you. I can't even believe he said that to you. You said, you said, I can't. You know who. If I repeat that, and you know who will have an attack. Just say it, Papa. What did he tell you?
You guys had sex in the woods in Tahoe.
After we got married, yes. That is true. That is correct.
Okay. Any stories that
Why
stand?
would he? How did that even come up?
I straight up
Papito?
asked him.
How?
I was like, "How? Where was I
Why would
conceived?"
you ask him?
Because
Why
I don't
would
know.
you ask
Everyone
him?
assumes it's like a bed or something romantic, not in the fucking woods like deer.
What are you talking about? Why would that be? What are you talking? Where do you think life started? How do you think people were procreating? Always in hotels or beds or rooms?
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
No,
You're right. Okay. You got a point, Mom.
no.
You got.
Go close it. No, close the door. Close the door. I have to talk to your brother. No, was think about it. Think about it. It was so beautiful. The sun was coming
Okay.
through the
I don't.
wood. It was
I
beautiful.
don't want to think
It
about it.
was beautiful. Well, I don't know why you two. I can't even believe he said that to you. Like, why would he? Why would he could have just been like, you know what, son? That's between me and your mom. That's private. Privacy. He could have just said like Tahoe, right? Like he could have just said. He could have said a lot of things. Why would he? Why would he do that? Like, I don't get it. That's wild.
Okay. All right.
That is
All right.
wild.
All right. All right. Anything you want to say before? I
That's
mean,
so
like,
private.
any stories you have?
Oh, many stories. Many
So
stories.
tell me about the problem. So women could not keep their hands off my dad. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, and then everybody that knew him or knew me, I got the nickname Fatal Attraction because it just got to be too much. It was too much.
How many
Like
women
we
have
couldn't.
you almost fought because of my dad?
Oof. Oh God. Every time we went out, almost every time we went out, like it was too much. Like it was too much. It was too much. It was too much. Even and I hope she doesn't show up. But Art Diane has a I don't know if they had kids after all or whatever, but her name was Kathy, and she was too touchy, friendly, whatever. I wanted to smash the shit out of her. I wanted to fuck her shit up because she would always invite your dad to drink, and I'm like, hey, we got a house, we got a mortgage, we got a baby. What are you doing? Like, go fucking take your old man out to drink. Go find somebody else to be inviting. What the fuck's wrong with you? Oh, she's just jealous. She stupid. Oh, she's fatal attraction. Just fucking morons. It's stupid ass broad.
All right,
Dumbass.
you're also on the podcast, so let's fucking.
Oh, Frankie. Fuck. Frank. Panchito, come on. But all the time, like when I was pregnant, right, we would go to the Berryessa flea market, to go get stuff, fruit, vegetables, whatever. And we'd be walking through the crowd, and I'd be like, I tell you, Dad, don't wear those shorts, put on a different, you know what I mean? Because back then, it was those spandex biker shorts. And I'm like, no, you can't wear those. Like, you got to wear something over them. And he'd be like, nah, quit being so jealous, or you're overreacting. And we'd be walking through the crowd, and old women, young women, and they just, like, they'd be like, when someone's trying to slide by to get to the stand or to and they'd be like it's so obvious. Oh, like touching him. Oh, excuse me, like, can I get by? I'm like, bitch, why are you even fucking touching him? Like, why are you smiling? And like, why just wait till we're done, stand your ass over there. And he'd be like, oh, you always want to fight people, you always want to start shit with everybody. No, if I see a couple, like a couple, I'm not gonna touch nobody's man and be like, "Oh, can I get by you?" Like, fucking obvious. It got irritating after a while.
Mom, we're getting a little off traffic.
Sorry.
Do you have any? Just tell me one funny story about my pops, and then we're gonna get out of here.
One funny story. There's a lot of funny stories. He was, he was just telling jokes all the time. Like he make fun of everybody. Like everybody. There was I would say the last one I remember. You remember that song "Poison"? By, what is it, Belle Biv? Yeah. So when he would see, he's so terrible. He would see homeless women. The song was about good-looking women, like she's poison, whatever. But he would sing it to like old ladies. They would be crossing the street or homeless. or somebody thought that they looked good, he would start singing that song like to make fun of them. But he always make fun of people. He just does that. He always had a witty comeback, you know. And he wasn't everybody liked him. He was likable, you know. He was fun to be around. He's always in a good mood, except I guess when I was around. I always did well, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I just didn't expect him to go this quickly. I wasn't prepared to. I thought he was going to be around, you know,
Yeah,
for a long time, like your grandfather, your grandfather, you know,
yeah,
and your grandmother. And I'm glad you were there with him, mijo. And he's gonna, you know, that memorial. If all the people that hung out with him and knew him show up, man, then you're not gonna have enough room. So you got to be real I'm not saying be secretive about it, but you got to be careful. You know who you announce it to.
All right, QAnon. I love you. I'll call you back soon.
Because you're gonna have every freaking. You can't. I don't. You know. Mijo, you're gonna have nothing but broads show up.
I know. All right, I love you, Mo. I'll see you soon.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye. All right.
She's still jealous of me. Like,
yeah.
You gotta have girls come.
All these fucking hoes. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, that was